Welcome to This Works Marketing, where 3 decades of proven experience has launched products, built brands, and generated profits. These are the stories behind the businesses that have been built. Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Ken Carey, and this is This Works Marketing, where we look at performance response marketing and how strategies and tactics that will help you build your business today and in the future. As I said, my name is Ken Carey, and I'm a direct sales expert for the last 30 years working with big companies, small companies, Fortune 500 companies, entrepreneurs, and everyone in between, helping them build their business through performance response and direct response and a direct-to-consumer model. And as with myself and my wife and the team, everybody here at Script to Screen, we have generated over $6.5 billion in sales for our clients. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about something I learned. I wouldn't say I learned, but something that just really came crystal clear to me in the last week. Last week I had the opportunity to travel to London to meet with some of our new clients, one of our new clients, and what we were doing there was really getting a deep data dump on their product and to talk to a lot of their customers, their curators, their experts, and to really get into the business, because what we're doing is we are taking this music streaming or this home entertainment device that has been launched in London and in England, and we're bringing it to the States this year, and we're very excited about it because it's a really cool product. And the whole experience there was really, really interesting. And I want to tell you a little story about the trip, and then I want to get into what I really want to talk about today. I want to talk about, the customer experience, the story they tell, and how they make a recommendation, and why those 3 things are really important to your selling message and how it is transferable. It doesn't matter what country you're in, doesn't matter what language you speak. It's all about, the story you can tell about your product, and how you do that is going to help you zero in on your sales message, and it's going to help you be more successful in business. And I say that because we are practitioners here at Script to Screen. We do this every day. We live, we breathe it, and we do it in every single product category, whether it's a subscription-based business, whether it is a direct-to-consumer business, whether it's just a product or a service. We do it every day, and so I don't talk about things that I think you should do. Of course, I think you should do them, but I think that I know we can help you do them better. But like I said, we are tacticians. We do it every single day and spend our life doing that. So really, the point is that what I'm talking to you about in This Works Marketing, what we do in all of our shows, are very practical. And they're things that you should be doing and you could be doing every day, because we have done them in the past with our clients, have been very successful, and we have learned a lot of lessons along the way. So, what we talk about in this show are things that are done, they're proven, and I know that they work. So, one of the things that we did when we were going to London was we were going to meet with a couple of their curators. And a curator for them, because it's an entertainment music streaming system, when we were in London, we met with a British music celebrity. Her name's Alicia Dixon. And Alicia Dixon she's on Britain's Got Talent. I believe she won that competition. She also won the British version of Britain's Got Talent, and she won the British version of Dancing with the Stars. I think that's pretty accurate, but she's won one of those, and she is a judge on Britain's Got Talent right now. But anyways, Alicia has been very successful in Britain in her recording career, and I sat down and interviewed her and talking about, why did she get behind this product, Roxy, and what Roxy is. And I teased you a little bit about it. It's a live music streaming home entertainment system, and this is what it is. It has a wireless receiver, and it has a microphone. So what is really cool about this microphone is, as everybody knows, when it comes to technology, what's really trending, what's really going to be big in the future is voice. And voice is just like touching the touch screen has been extremely successful, and how it's transferred into apps and how we use our life today. I mean, everything we do is almost touchscreen. We touch our computer screens, we touch our laptops, we touch our phones. Everything we're doing now is touch. Well, it's gonna get more and more about voice. And what's really interesting about this technology is through this connector, and it's all wireless. So you connect it to your internet, and you put in your passcode, and it sets up automatically. So literally, you can have live streaming in your home, streaming music of over 29 million titles, and some games and some other things that like karaoke, name that tune, very specific playlist song. You can create your own song list. You can do all this stuff that becomes a family entertainment togetherness experience, where one of the things that Roxy and the parent company Electric Jukebox, this is the product Roxy in the box, and here it is in live, but is that, you know, we have tended to, and it's just part of how technology has been delivered to us, we put on our headphones, we do music in a more personal aspect, which is great, but it does tend to alienate and separate us as families and as people. And it's pushing that aspect a little bit away, especially if you have children. We all know that we just kind of get into our own little worlds when we're entertaining ourselves. It's separating us from the family, and that's what this product does. This product is about bringing music and fun back to the family, and it's really interesting because this little device right here, this microphone, and I was talking about I was talking about voice, and all you do is speak into this, and you say, play Bad by Michael Jackson. Immediately, within seconds, that song comes up on your television screen, and you can go through albums, you can go through that song, you can go through anything Michael Jackson, but if you just want that song, you can play it, and when you play it, it'll start playing Michael Jackson until you turn it off. But what is that doing? That is giving you the ability to share your experience, a generation to generation to generation of the music, brings the family together, people have fun, and it's all by a voice command. And back to Alicia Dixon. So Alicia Dixon is a music curator for Roxy, and an ambassador. So she created her own music list and her own playlist for anybody who wants to, who may say, you know, I just want to have a fun party, and I don't know, you know, I have an idea what kind of music I want to play, but what about if you can have someone who is a recording artist and they make their playlist? How about having that at your party? Well, that's all you do. You go to Roxy and you say, play Alicia Dixon playlist, and her playlist comes up of her favorite songs, her favorite artists, and it just gives a whole different meaning to, you know, bringing in unique styles of music. And then the family comes along. Another person that's involved is a guy named Robbie Williams. Robbie Williams is a very successful recording artist in England, and Sheryl Crow is, as we all know in the United States, is a very successful recording artist. So these are curators and experts to the product. So when I was in London, I had the opportunity to sit down with Alicia and talk to her about why did she get behind Roxy. And I tell you this story because it's going to feed into my points I'm going to talk today, because Alicia wanted to be part of the product because she has a 6-year-old daughter, and she really wants to bring that family unit together. And she felt like this was a great product that helped bring that family unit together, yet it leveraged what she does and her expertise and what she loves is music, and how that helped her grow up, and it really shaped her as an artist, and she wanted to share that with others and with her family. So she wanted to be part of this project. And it was just great to hear her talk about what music influenced her. She talked about how Michael Jackson influenced her, how Alicia Keys influenced her, how Salt and Pepper, that was a group that really influenced her, and how it molded her as an artist. And then she took that with her girl band in England called Mystique, and they were very, very successful. And then she has gone since then to do a very successful solo career, and as a judge and a dancer, and she's really, kind of that really popular celebrity, if you will, right now in England. And we don't know a lot about her here, but in England she's a big deal, because what we're doing with this Roxy program is because it was this Roxy product, is that because when it was introduced in England, it was had a very, very successful launch, and we want to bring it to the States. So we're actually doing a campaign for England and Europe as well as the United States. So that's going to be really interesting. So in addition to talking to Alicia, I had the opportunity to talk to some really interesting people and really fun people I got a chance to visit with. A couple of bloggers and a mommy blogger. And her blog is Three Little Ladies and Me, which I thought was really cute. And she's got 3 young daughters, and she blogs, and she's an influencer, and she is an influencer for Roxy because she really liked that whole aspect of bringing music to the family. And when I got to talk to her, it was really interesting on her telling me why she got involved, how she uses it in her life, why she recommends it, and why she even blogs about it, because as an influencer, she influences a lot of decisions, and that was important for her to tell that story. So as we were talking, she told me a lot of things that helped me kind of shape the message that we want to put together in this advertising campaign for the Roxy. And had I not had the opportunity to talk to her and to really dig into why she loves this product, there's a couple of things I probably wouldn't have known, and I would have passed on. And maybe because I didn't know that, I wouldn't put it into the marketing message, and maybe could have missed an opportunity with somebody who might be interested in it. And what she said was, as her family winds down, you can imagine 3 kids under 6, 3 young girls under 6, it probably gets a little hectic, as she said. And one of the great features about Roxy's is you can select music like, meditation or sleep or something like that, and a playlist will come up with meditative music. And she uses that to kind of wind down the girls as it goes into the evening. As they go into bed, they kind of winds them down, gets them relaxed, and they sleep so much better. So I thought that was really interesting. Imagine, had I not known that, and when we put together the testimonials of people who use this product, that if I can incorporate that into the message, just might resonate with a lot of moms out there with kids. So again, you get so much information out of talking to your customers that it really helps you put together your selling message. And that's kind of where I want to go with today's topic and tell the story about London, because it's really important, and it fits into what I want to talk about, because I want to talk about the importance of storytelling and how three-way storytelling can help really make an effective direct response or performance response marketing advertising message, because it's absolutely pinnacle. Because as product owners, as people who've developed products, and I've seen this in our conference room with our clients, and our whole team has seen this, is that when somebody has a product, they have all the features and benefits, and they have the things that they want to say, and in most cases they're very proven, but in a lot of cases they're opinions made by the company. And that's important. Their opinions and how they believe their product can be sold is very important. But what's usually not on that piece of paper or that brief is, what is the feedback customers are telling them? And how does that help them massage and help and sculpt and to create their message to sell their product? And that's what we do very, very effectively as direct response marketers, is when you can talk to your customer and pull out of them, the problem that product solved, what made a difference to them, as I said with this mommy blogger, what made a difference to her was the fact that not only listening to the music with her daughters, that's a given, but being able to bring up different kinds of music to kind of bring the family back down and get them chilled out for sleep. And then she said even after that, she'll sit to bring herself down, she'll do some yoga to that music. So here she is in her home, getting her kids ready to bed, doing some yoga, watching beautiful music on this television screen, because the Roxy not only plays the music, but it puts up really nice photo images. So in your home, you have these beautiful photos on your television while it's playing fantastic music. And everything is at just your voice, which is amazing. 29 million titles for any song you can possibly imagine. And again, it breaks away from that single solo experience and brings everybody together. And it's really fun because I saw it happen right before my eyes when we were interviewing these folks. So take that story, and then let's talk about another couple that I interviewed. And I don't remember their last name, but it was Les and it was Wendy. And Les and Wendy are in their mid-70s, been married for 50 years. I think that's what they said, 50 years. And they love the Roxy, and they love the product. And why they love the product was because they both are just music people, but they like to enjoy music together. It was very, very interesting because Wendy, I think, like I said, I think she's 76, and I asked her about her favorite songs and why it was important to get Roxy. One of the big reasons why it was important to get Roxy, and why I thought it was really another important thing that I learned to help sell this product, is that she considers herself a little technologically challenged. She's not doing a lot of stuff with computers and things like that. So she needed a real simple product to help her enjoy the music that she does with her husband, because they're totally on different genres. It's really funny. She really I asked her about what her favorite music was, and it was really hilarious because she said she loved The Clash, and then he loved Bruce Springsteen. I mean, they're both in their mid-70s, and they're just so opposite in the music that they like, but then now they can listen to it together. And they didn't want apps. They didn't want to have to put in passwords and codes and try to figure it out and Bluetooth it to a speaker system. All they have to do is literally press the mic button, say what the music that they wanted, and their whole house was full of music, and they can enjoy it together. So the technology angle was amazing because now it gave me the ability to start thinking about, as we market this to young families and to maybe someone in their 70s, there's different reasons why they want it. And I wouldn't really, and I can look at those points on an advertising brief and have a real good idea about it. But when you meet somebody and you understand how much it makes a difference to them in how they use a product and why that's such an important part to them, it gives you the ability to start really molding your message. And again, that's the power of storytelling that you can do in performance marketing and direct selling in general. The power of telling a story of what you like, how it solved your problem, and why you would recommend it. So it was just a great trip. And then we got into the Electric Jukebox's offices, the makers of Roxy, and we had a really interesting data dump with the CEO and the founders and the co-founders and the marketing executives and the execution and technology team. And it was just fascinating to learn how the product worked, and it just can go anywhere around the world. As long as you have a Wi-Fi connection, you can do this, and how their customer support serves their customers. So getting deep into the company made me really understand that I can pass on to our team is that sometimes technology is fantastic, and sometimes it's so fantastic it's kind of a pain in the butt. I think we've all had that problem. But being in their offices in London and seeing how important customer service is, and seeing how on top of it they are on with the technology is just impressive, and it gives me such confidence to communicate that message in the marketing message we're going to put together, because those are, I call them pain points. Those are pain points that people have because they don't, if they're not comfortable with technology, they want to know these types of things ahead of time. And when you see it for yourself, it makes a big difference. So let's get to, I was saying I'm going to talk about the 3 ways storytelling makes for effective DR marketing. And it doesn't matter where it is around the world, as I said, talked about in London, it doesn't matter where it is. And the first one is, and we talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to go into a little bit, is a customer experience. So again, when you really understand the customer's experience, and sometimes the experience is super good, sometimes it's not so good. And if it's not so good, at least you have that opportunity to have that open 2-way communication and understand what is not so good and how you can mold your message to solve that potentially, because it could be a pain point for somebody else. So the customer experience is absolutely pinnacle. And I wrote some notes down here because I just wanted to make sure I made some points pretty clear, because a customer experience really creates an emotional connection to your product or service. Again, you could talk till you're blue in the face. You could show all your marketing sales points and say everything and check all the boxes. But if there's no personal emotional connection to that, it's just words. And so that's the beauty of putting together and talking to people in an interview and understanding their story and being able to make that connection, because the experience I have with a product could be a totally different experience than what you would have with a product and what somebody else would have with a product, like Les and Wendy and our blogger friend with her 3 children. 2 totally different experiences with the same product that reach totally different markets or audiences, if you will. And that customer experience is extremely well. And the only way you really understand customer experience is to sit down with them and talk. Ask questions. Let them tell you, instead of you trying to figure out what you want them to take away from your message and why you want them to understand something to sell it. That's a very difficult road. Let them tell you. Talk about their customer's experience, and then pull from that, a couple of things that will resonate over a lot of people. Absolutely critical, and that's one of the things that I can tell you from experience that has made such a big difference in successful campaigns that we have done, is understanding that customer experience and know how to take that message out to others. Okay. The other one is their story. So a customer experience is one thing, but what's the story behind why they did what they did, and how did this product that is not a necessity. A product like this is not a necessity, it's a want. So it's selling a product that somebody absolutely needs, that solves their problem, is a bit easier than selling a product that is not a need, it's a want. But if you can understand what their pain points or what their problems are, a need can become a want if you get over all the barriers that they may have. One of them may be technology, one of them may be, variety. Whatever their issues are, you can get over those and make that want a need. And a need to the point of, I need to have this. I really need to have this product because I want to entertain my family or whatever, because I want to get my family together. And that's really the core message of what we're trying to do here. So their story of, I'm going to talk about Wendy and Les. So they were talking about how they brought their children to your home and their grandkids to their home. And before, Roxy, they would have three different, you know, obviously generations happening, and they weren't able to really share as close to a family as Wendy wanted. And it was really important to her. Her story of being able to sit with her granddaughter and her grandson and play some music that they like, and she could play some music and tell a story about when she was a little girl. That brought them together, and that really made a difference for her. So that was her story that she wanted to tell. And I can only imagine that when we could tell that story in this piece of advertising, how so many other people are going to be able to relate to that. So her story is so important, because she could just say, oh, imagine she can just say, oh, I love this, it's fantastic. Plays a lot of music, and the technology is super easy, and it's easy to set up, and I recommend it. Is that good? Yeah, it's good. Is there an emotional connection to that story? No. But if she's able to tell the story about her and her granddaughter, and how it brought her and her granddaughter and her grandson together, and how they can share the music with her kids, and her husband, and her grandkids, that's an emotional chord that you can play that could effectively bring somebody in that may not really understand that they don't know how to make that happen for themselves, because they're in this situation where maybe the grandkids have headphones on, or the parents aren't really listening. They don't want to care what their parents are listening to. But if it becomes a whole family gathering, then it becomes really interesting. And their story, everybody has a story about music. Everybody has a story about, oh, I remember that song, and I remember what I was doing. And all of a sudden you just get this connection going on and I saw it happen right before my eyes with these people, and it's really beautiful. It's fun to watch, and we are really going to capitalize on that. So the ability to tell a story is absolutely the difference between just checking the boxes off and then really bringing somebody in there. Because the other, again, I wanted to make sure I hit a couple other points, because right. So the point about a good story makes something that may not be exciting. If you as a marketer, and you as the product developer, the marketer, or the company behind a product are trying to say how super exciting something is, you can say it all you want, but it almost sounds salesy. If you are the company that have the product and you're talking about how amazing it is, it becomes salesy. It can become pushy, and it could turn people off. But if I ask Wendy why she likes it, and she's telling me why she likes it, and you're listening in on her story, and she gets excited about it, then it's a totally different message. The super excited message is still there, but it's coming authentically through somebody's personal story and their experience, versus me as a marketer or the product manufacturer trying to tell you how amazing it is. That just might turn people off. So that's another way to utilize storytelling to capture people that are maybe have their guard up a little bit and don't want to be sold. They'd rather be brought into something and let them make their own decision. I don't know anybody who likes to go to a car lot, and I know I'm that guy. I walk on, and you can just see that salesperson going back and forth. They're kind of hunting you down, and they're coming out to you, and you feel like you're that seal out in the ocean, and here come these sharks, and you may not put it up visually, but inside you're putting up this wall, and you're saying, "Oh, I'm just checking it out. I'm just looking." Very common. Well, what is that? It's because you're protecting yourself as somebody trying to jam something down your throat, trying to sell you something. But what if that person comes to you and says, asks you a little bit about, so tell me about your family. Tell me how you live your life every day. and you start telling a story about how you live your life, and that person says, well, listen, if you're interested, this car over here might be able to help you with the way that you live your life. All of a sudden, that's turned into a conversation because you shared with them your story, and they are listening, and they're understanding how to help you. Not how to sell you, but how to help you. That's what we're doing with a customer testimonial. That's what we're doing with a good story. That's what we're doing with the customer experience, is letting that story be told so you don't have to sell. That customer and their experience can do the selling for you, and a lot better than you can, to be honest with you. They can do it a lot better, but you do have to really go through a lot of people and understand how to find the right people, the right demographics, the right issues that support the points that you know sell your product. So there's a very intensive screening process to make that happen. But if you can find the people with a great customer experience, find someone with a great story, and third, somebody who really, really wants to give a recommendation. One of the things that I asked every single person in these interviews was that, so we were shooting on a Tuesday and a Wednesday in London, just outside London, and we're in the middle of the day. So, and this gal has 3 young kids, and this other, I interviewed 5 other people in addition to Alicia Dixon, but 5 other groups of people, and they all they got busy things. They're busy people. They got families. There's things they need to be doing, and I made it a point to ask them, why did you want to talk about Roxy? And I said to them, I said, you're obviously busy. You have a job, you have a family. This could be an hour drive from you outside of London to be here to do this interview. Why do you want to do it? And every single time I asked that question, you could see their face light up. And they said, you know what? Because it made such a difference in my life, and I think if people can understand what this product does and how it can really help you, and how it could really bring the family together, I think that's why I want to tell that story, because it's made a difference in my life, and I can share that with someone else who may not understand it. I can help them with my personal experience, my customer experience. I can help them with my story to give a recommendation. That recommendation is absolutely huge. It makes all the difference in the world. And when positioned the question like that, it gives them the ability to share. And I'm just listening to them share their experience, to share why they want to recommend something. And it just becomes so authentic. I just need to sit back and make sure I got that communication going through, and I've got that that story being told, and I don't get too much in the way. So I have all this footage to edit together, myself and my team, to edit, that can tell a great story about a product. So I'm going to go back to the 3, after telling all this story about London, let's talk about the 3 things that I wanted to make sure that, why storytelling makes such an effective direct response marketing message. And it doesn't matter where you're doing it around the world, because I just happen to be in London, but I could be doing this in any other country, so long as I spoke the language. But all those things resonate. A customer experience resonates in every country in the world. A story that somebody has to tell about a product or service resonates in every country, in every language around the world. And somebody who wants to give a recommendation authentically from their heart, or for how it's changed and how it can help other people, that translates no matter what message, no matter what country in the world. So when you can put those 3 things together and do it, there's a method to it. There is a formula to make it really good to fit into a marketing message, and that's what experts do. But when you can do those 3 things, I'm telling you, and I believe it 100%, and we've had the fortunate task of being able to do that for a lot of companies around the world, is that when you can do that, you can sell product and make the consumer feel really good about wanting to buy that product. And it's just an authentic message. And as I've said, and I continue to say in the vlogs and podcasts and blogs and everything that we do here at This Works Marketing, is that, you know, we live in a review-based economy. We're making decisions today based on what somebody else is saying about a product or a service. We will, before we read anything else or get into depth, sometimes we just go look at the reviews and find out, are a lot of people liking this? Well, what is a review? A review is a testimonial. What is a testimonial? A testimonial is somebody's story, somebody's recommendations, somebody's personal experience. That's all wrapped into one thing, which is a review, and that's why we're making decisions more and more today. So I can't implore people enough or companies enough that you have to start marketing today as it's 2020, not like it's 2019, not like it's 2018. You have to market in the world we live in today. And the world we live in today is so much driven by consumer experience and why they want to share, and reviews, and 5-star reviews and things like that, and what a blogger has to say. If you can take that information and really pull out the nuggets out of it and put it into your marketing message, you're going to have a successful campaign, providing it's a great product, providing it's the right price point. All those things are going to have to fit together, but you don't have to worry about doing the selling. Those things will do the selling for you. So I really want to just keep continuing to make that message, and I feel like I'm standing on a soapbox, because I am in a way, because I really, really believe it. And everybody here at Script to Screen and This Works Marketing, the whole team really, really believes the fact that if you can create a direct-to-consumer business, so many of our clients are their channels are retail, their channels are maybe their little online store. I don't mean to be talking negatively. I don't mean it in a negative way, but their online experience and an Amazon experience. Well, we all know that those two models, if you have your online store, that's not really the business you're in. You're making it convenient for your customer, but your business is really how you're driving retail sales and your retail channels you've been doing for years, and how Amazon is taking that upon, and how Walmart is taking that upon. Those two colossal giants are fighting it out. If those are your channels, that's great, and you have to have those. But the key to long-term profitability and sustainability is you as a company, as a product manufacturer, as a product company, you need to create a direct-to-consumer model. Because at some point in the future, those are going to be, one is going to be growing, one's going to be deteriorating or changing. We're still figuring out what that's going to be. But we do know from reports, and I can say from Forbes magazine, I was reading online a couple of weeks ago, talking about the potential of 8,000 retail stores closing just this year. And that's just the beginning. It's already started, because in America, we all know that we have tremendous amounts of retail. We are overbuilt in retail, and that's leveling itself out. And it's, that hand is being forced through online retailing, like Amazon and things like that. So as that continues to grow, it can continue to control your business, and retail as it was before, I'm just going to say from yesterday back, that's changing every day. So these are flipping and turning, but that wedge in between is that relationship with your customer, that direct-to-consumer relationship that you need to start building. And it's something that I'm going to shout out from the hilltops for a long time, because I know it works. I've seen it work, and I know that implementing that now is going to help you so much more in 2 and 3 years down the line, because if you're doing it 2 or 3 years down the line, it may be too late. You got to think about what you're doing today and how that's going to help you in the future. And that's a direct-to-consumer model, because you can control it. You have that control with your customer, and you can serve that customer, and you're just think about the margins you're saving. You don't have to discount prices. You don't have to just everything that goes in with retail and everything goes with online retailers and people taking cuts and margins and things like that. It reduces your profitability, yet you can't charge any more for your product, especially if your customer is not going to pay any more for your product, but these other entities are taking more out of your profitability. That's a problem, and it's only going to get worse. So I just implore companies to take it into consideration and start to do something about it. All going back to this trip to London about talking to customers and getting that personal experience and understanding what they're bringing out of them, what their customer experience is, bringing out their story and bringing out their recommendation, because that's going to allow you to put together a great direct-to-consumer message that's going to help you build that foundation for your company's long-term profitability and sustainability. So anyways, I appreciate very much everybody that's been watching our vlog and our Facebook Lives. I really appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions or have any topics that you'd like us to take on for you and your business, we would love to address those. We can bring in experts in certain areas, and my wife Barbie and I really like to do that and talk to experts and really see about how their business is changing and how our businesses work together that can help other companies and their businesses. We're in the trenches every day, and we see the trends that are happening, and we get behind the walls and know we are on the pulse of what's happening in business today and in the future, and it's super, super exciting. So if you have any topics, questions, thoughts, guests, ideas, we would love to bring them on and give that information to you. So again, I appreciate your time, and if you found this information valuable, I really would appreciate it very much if you would share it. And until next time, this is This Works Marketing. We appreciate your time, and we will catch you next week on This Works Marketing. Thanks.
Welcome to This Works Marketing, where 3 decades of proven experience has launched products, built brands, and generated profits. These are the stories behind the businesses that have been built.